Cold sweat runs down your temples as you press the barrel of a gold-plated pistol against the center of your own uncle's forehead. The room is heavy with the scent of Cohiba cigars and the metallic stench of blood. He is the man who taught you how to ride a bicycle 15 years ago. But he is also the exact same man who just sold your father out to a special forces unit in exchange for clemency. You are a brilliant finance graduate, your hands accustomed only to typing on keyboards and analyzing profit margins, but right now they are trembling under the crushing weight of a human life and absolute power. Police sirens wail in the distance, signaling that you only have a few seconds to pull the trigger, permanently discarding your humanity to salvage a multi-billion-dollar empire teetering on the edge of collapse. To understand exactly why an heir raised in pure silk stands at this bloody crossroads, a flood of memories pulls you back in time. You let out your first cry not in a sterile, ordinary hospital, but inside a state-of-the-art medical suite, custom-built deep within a 500-acre estate hidden in an unnamed mountain range. Your first breaths mingle with the chopping blades of military patrol helicopters and the static crackle of radios from dozens of cartel snipers guarding the watchtowers. Your childhood unfolds in a completely surreal world. A colossal gilded cage constructed from tons of illicit cash and shadow power. You own a private zoo complete with rare white tigers, but you do not have a single friend your own age to play with. The outside world beyond those 4-meter-high reinforced concrete walls and deadly electrified fences is an invisible concept to you. The muscular men who always smile, pick you up, and hand you the most expensive toys in the world are actually ruthless smugglers and notorious hitmen currently sitting on global Interpol red notices. You are growing up in absolute protection, completely unaware that the very authority shielding you every night is the source of terror across the entire continent. The education you receive is a perfect paradox, meticulously designed to mold the mind of a future king. In the mornings, you sit in quiet oak-paneled rooms, listening to private tutors flown in from Europe lecture you on philosophy, advanced mathematics, and classical art. You learn how to play complex sonatas on a gold-leaf grand piano, absorbing the refined demeanor of a legitimate tycoon. But the moment the sun dips behind the mountains, that civilized facade rapidly peels away, replaced by the brutal survival lessons of the underworld slowly seeping into your consciousness. Your father, a man with a gaze so piercing it forces any man to bow, often sits you on his lap and plants moral codes into your head that completely contradict the outside world. He whispers in your ear that the law is nothing but a pile of scrap paper meant for the weak who cannot defend themselves, and that loyalty to the family is the only religion worth worshipping. Occasionally, peering through your bedroom window, you vaguely see traitors being dragged across the dew-soaked brick courtyard, their screams for mercy drowned out by the vicious snarling of guard dogs. Even though the bodyguards always rush to draw the curtains and shield your eyes, the metallic taste of violence and death has already woven itself into the very air you breathe every single day. You slowly realize that the radiant peace you enjoy is paid for with ultimate ruthlessness, and inside your veins, the dark blood of the cartel is surging fiercely, silently preparing you for the inevitable day you are forced to wear a crown forged in thorns and lead. Your 16th birthday is not marked by the keys to a gleaming Ferrari like ordinary wealthy heirs, but by a silent nod from your father, allowing you to step through the lead-lined door of an underground boardroom. You sit huddled in a dark corner, forbidden to speak, silently observing how the most hardened and dangerous men on the continent divide Pacific coastal smuggling routes worth hundreds of millions of dollars. There is no screaming or the crude, cliché threats seen in movies. You witness firsthand the cold operation of absolute power as your father merely takes a sip of wine, dropping a soft sentence that is enough to seal the fate of a mayor who dared to refuse a bribe. The crushing weight of the title of successor begins to pulverize the last shreds of innocence left in your mind, forcing you to learn how to memorize every treacherous glance, every calculating frown of the lieutenants to prepare for a future riddled with betrayal. 4 years later, carrying the perfect cover of an elite economics student, you step onto the historic campus of a prestigious Ivy League university on the east coast of the United States under a fake name and a completely scrubbed background. You glide through brilliant lecture halls, politely nodding to the privileged children of the political and financial elite, who endlessly chatter about summer internships at Goldman Sachs or their trivial anxieties over grades. But when night falls and the dorm room door closes, You lock the deadbolts, draw the blackout curtains tight, and open your military-grade encrypted laptop, officially stepping into your suffocating double life. While your peers drunkenly scream through frat house parties, you are straining your eyes at blinking satellite coordinates on the screen, calculating ocean currents to approve the routes for 3 narco-submarines carrying 15 tons of contraband evading Coast Guard sonar systems. Your hands glide across the keyboard, silently funneling $50 million of dirty cash through a tangled web of shell companies from Panama to the Cayman Islands, washing blood-soaked money into legitimate luxury real estate investments and anonymous cryptocurrency wallets. You live in an extreme and terrifying isolation amidst a noisy sea of people, unable to utter a word about this suffocating pressure to anyone, because you know perfectly well that a minor error in your cash flow allocation algorithm does not result in a failing grade on a transcript, but in the evaporation of tens of millions of dollars and dozens of headless corpses floating in the Gulf of Mexico. The harsh contrast between these two worlds tears at your soul day and night, but simultaneously, it is secretly forging you into the most terrifying weapon of the underworld. An elite financial mind operated by the cold, unfeeling heart of a crime boss, silently waiting for the inevitable day that bloody throne calls your name. You walk through the university gates with an elite economics degree in hand, but instead of stepping onto Wall Street, you officially take over the shadow CFO seat of the largest criminal conglomerate in the Western Hemisphere. Your new headquarters is not a gunpowder-scented jungle or a damp basement, but a magnificent glass office on the top floor of a Dubai skyscraper where the world's filthiest money is laundered into legitimate figures. Your father and the old guard commanders still believe that power lies at the end of a gun barrel, but you understand that a true empire must be protected by shell companies and untraceable contracts. You begin acquiring luxury hotel chains, massive casinos in Macau, and agricultural import-export firms in Europe, transforming mountains of cash stuffed in underground drums into legal commercial transactions on paper. Every day, you don such handmade Italian suits, coolly sitting across from finance ministers, central bank governors, and high-ranking politicians, using suitcases filled with untraceable cryptocurrency to buy their absolute loyalty. You don't need to send hitmen to threaten a prosecutor standing in your way. You simply make one phone call to freeze his entire pension account in Switzerland and buy up his family's debt through an anonymous investment fund. A surge of ultimate power rushes down your spine as you realize you can collapse an entire local economy or topple a provincial government with just a few clicks to redirect cash flows. Rival cartel bosses may possess thousands of bloodthirsty gunmen, but they are utterly helpless against the financial matrix you have woven, where every drug dollar is perfectly camouflaged under the guise of resort real estate projects and tech stocks. However, the smooth operation of this colossal money-printing machine demands a brutal level of focus, because the DEA and Interpol are sniffing out the organization's structural shift and have begun deploying their most veteran data analysts to hunt for your trail. You are walking a tightrope stretched across an abyss, knowing full well that a single minor error in a forged audit report in the Virgin Islands is enough to bring the entire billion-dollar empire crashing down, turning you from a powerful CEO into a prisoner, serving a life sentence without parole in a maximum security cell. The artificial peace within your crystal ivory tower shatters completely on a sun-drenched afternoon in Monaco, as the encrypted satellite phone in your suit pocket vibrates with the rhythmic tolls of death. On the other end is not an annual financial report, but the raw screams of El Mudo amidst a hailstorm of bullets. Your father has been assassinated at the fortress estate by a treacherous alliance between high-ranking lieutenants and a foreign mercenary group. In a split second, all the sophisticated money laundering systems and political networks you painstakingly built become utterly useless against the heat of explosives and primal greed. You instantly become the #1 target, the top name on a liquidation list, so the rebels can officially seize the empire. You strip off your fortune-valued Patek Philippe watch, discard your businessman suit for the cold embrace of a bulletproof vest, and for the first time in your life, you feel the true weight of the gold-plated pistol your father passed down, the final remaining power when trust and rules collapse. You are forced into a breathless escape across borders, using your very knowledge of logistics and secret crypto accounts to buy blood-soaked exit routes through dark seaports. As you stand on the deck of a battered fishing boat in the middle of a midnight sea, looking toward the mainland where your family's empire is engulfed in flames. A grim truth saturates your consciousness. You could never be a clean CEO, and you are no longer the innocent child in the gilded cage. The long-suppressed demonic ego officially awakens as you realize that to survive in this world, you must become more brutal than those who murdered your father. You use the last funds in your anonymous digital wallet to hire the most notorious mercenary army, not to reclaim money, but to execute a bloody purge that will etch the terror of your family name back into the minds of the traitors. Your hands, once accustomed only to signing billion-dollar contracts, are now stained with the smell of gunpowder and dried blood, and as you pull the trigger for the first shot into the head of the coup leader, you understand you have crossed the point of no return. You officially accept your destiny not as a financial administrator, but as a monster standing at the apex of the criminal food chain, ruling by fear and blood instead of figures. The war to reclaim the throne has only just begun. And you know that from now on, your sleep will never be peaceful again. For the price of absolute power is eternal solitude and the never-ending hunt of the Grim Reaper.